Can you tell us a little bit about yourself as a musician?
As a musician, professional musician, I have been for the last 10 to 15 years now, and find it very difficult trying to survive in the world out there with all its challenges, and trying to create music which gives humanity a bit of hope and understanding, and trying to find a way to make a living of doing that, which is quite a challenge.
What inspires you personally to write music?
The greatest thing for me are the Baha'i writings, of course, and especially the teachings on what Baha'u'llah, how he talks about the arts, was really one of the main things that really got me interested in the faith and led to my declaration. So it is the writings and the philosophy of Baha'u'llah which guides a lot of my music today, yeah.
How have your Papua New Guinean roots influenced your music?
Well, I'm actually originally from Papua New Guinea, was born in the highlands in Mount Hagen, and I'm always trying to make connections back to Papua New Guinea, even though I was brought up here for a long time. And I'm now actually at a very interesting part of my musical journey where I'm actually going back to my roots. So I'll be going back in September, hopefully, for a tour, and to lead up to the declaration of the Barb. But what I'm trying to do is actually work with Papua New Guinean musicians, professional musicians and Australian musicians, and try and create a new music which incorporates their traditional instruments, you know, like the garamut drums, the kuumba flutes, the sepik flutes, and inject that with modern sounds, and especially from my background, which is actually jazz and blues. So try and create some sort of unique sound, which is, I think that's part of the process where I'm going back, is to see how that all gels together.
Can you share your thoughts on why the arts are important in the Baha'i faith?
Well, the arts is so significant in the faith because I personally believe it's the only thing that can actually connect the humanity with the divine world, if you will, apart from the writings. It is a huge source to use that for self-reflection. And it's also important to encourage at the community level the importance of, bringing in music, bringing in dancing, bringing in all these wonderful, painting, whatever it is, to the community level, because it elevates your spirit, and it actually has a profound effect on your mind and your well-being when you're actually engaged in the arts, And the research has proven this, that when the human mind is engaged with music, it's using its full capacity. It's been proven scientifically. So I think with the arts, it's so important in the faith that we really look at that seriously. And we don't have to be, professional at any art form. We just have to look at ourselves creatively, whether we cook something or creatively present it, or whether we're the way we dress, or even having a conversation can be creative. It depends on how you look at it, and I think it's very important,
Can you tell us a little bit about the idea of coherence in your life as a musician?
It's very hard to have this balance, and I always struggle within myself, because there's some gigs that I can't do sometimes as well, that you have to just say, I can't do that for reasons that might go against the beliefs, The struggle for me is to actually market myself in a way that it is spiritual, but not gospel. You see, that's the hard thing. People, think about gospel and they think, oh, it's just one style of music. Being a Baha'i and looking at myself as a global citizen and trying to market something that is global has been a work in progress, So, for example, what I try and wear is actually items from different parts of the world. And I say to kids, especially when I go to schools, this is what my culture is. I'm a global citizen, and this is what I'm trying to get you to see, is that I don't belong to any one part of the world, but the world, And then I sing about my songs. The struggle has been for people have heard my music in the industry and gone, oh wow, but you know, how do we market that? And without petering it down. And that's sort of been a bit of my dilemma, you know, cutting, you know, a 7-minute song into a 3-minute song, which is one of my tracks, the Flowers of One Garden, which is actually a spiritual song. Can't cut the spirit of the rainbow serpent. So these are my dilemmas of how do I actually go about and trying to make a living, and even having conversations with photographers for photo shoots. Okay, I want you to look at me as a woman, and I want you to try and capture the spirit, not the sexuality, but the spirit of this conversation and what I'm trying to... And they look at me like I'm from another planet, you know, quite frankly. But once they've gotten over that, then I pray to God and He works through them. And the results, you know, amazing. So this is the process I'm going through personally, about trusting in this process, because we don't know really what the arts are going to look like. So we're just at the beginning of this iceberg of what the art will look like. And unfortunately, I'm one of the people that are going through this process of trial and error, and what does it actually look like to... It's not, there's no such thing as a Baha'i artist, but to what does it actually look like to be a spiritual musician in the 21st century?
After listening to your music, what do you hope people will take away from it?
I want them to be, the first and foremost is to be touched in their heart. And I want my music to have a spiritual effect on their souls that helps them to engage in an enlightened conversation with anybody, and helps them to self-reflect on where they are with their lives, and hopefully empower them and encourage them to continue to ask more questions and become more in touch with their true essence, you know, their spirituality.